Oh, hello, yeah. Well, it's cold, isn't it? Yeah. Got a multitude of layers on and I still feel nipped. Anyway, yeah, there's a chill wind out there, sort of rolling back lots of things that I thought as an adult were a done deal. One might think of these things as, of course, the post-war settlement, the social contract, as we used to call it, whereby, them workers would get a reasonable slice of the pie. Whereas, of course, well, they don't anymore, do they? No. Loads of things being rolled back, and just things that I thought I'd never particularly see once again in my lifetime, like very, very nasty levels of racism, sexism and homophobia are just becoming the norm again. Why? Well, because people, I think, are just like that. Our glorious masters seem very, very keen on making sure that basically any of the reforms that we've had since about 1970, just as a ballpark one, can be rolled back with impunity. And they get their particular friends in the media to make sure that somehow we're persuaded of this. And, well, I was drawn to this the other day. Not drawn, because I'm never drawn to anything on GB News, but this particular thing on GB News, which is a fine example of a whole bunch of people whinging about something that they don't really know anything about, and then at the same time trying to persuade us that the evidence of our own eyes isn't exactly what is going on. Anyway, let's look at this with your friend, and well, probably just your friend, Patrick Christie's.
NHS bosses say that our great national flag is creating no-go zones for their staff. One NHS Trust leader compared walking into the home of someone with a St George's cross outside to the threat that staff face from going into the properties of convicted sex offenders. Here's the quote. I've been into homes with people who have been convicted of sex offences, and we go in and we provide care to them. It can be a really precarious situation, and they handle that absolutely brilliantly. The autonomy and the clinical decisions that they make within that, I think, is fantastic. We saw during the time when the St George's flags went up, our staff, who are a large minority of black and Asian staff, feeling deliberately intimidated. It felt like the flags were up creating no-go zones. That's what it felt like to them. It's ridiculous. The NHS doesn't have a problem with some flags, do they? They painted the entire side of one hospital with the pride flag. They've even got big LGBT ambulances. NHS staff are currently suing the NHS over their right to wear a Palestine flag at work. And here is what Matt Goodwin had to say. He said, "We have become so dependent on immigration in the NHS, we are apparently no longer allowed to fly our national flag." Well, I think that's spot on. There appears to be a coordinated attempt to talk about racism in the NHS at the moment. Wes Streeting claiming that we're returning to the, quote, ugly days of the 1970s and 1980s. And today, Sir Keir Starmer, who has the lowest approval ratings of any Prime Minister in recorded history, was interviewed by a doctor called Amir Khan. So, just so we're clear on the context, Dr. Khan there has a watermelon in his social media bio, which is one of the symbols used to show that you are very pro-Palestine. Now, that doctor said this.
As a brown person, I've never felt more unsafe in the country I was born in. What are you doing to politically, culturally and emotionally bring the country together?
Yeah, well, there you go. They're getting uppity. What have they got to be so cross about? After all, we're not allowed to get cross at flags, are we? No, we do get cross at flags. Of course we do, though. We get really cross about flags. Not the proper flag, our flag, the right flag, the flag that Matt likes. No. And what do these people know about racism, eh? What do these brown people know about racism? I mean, Patrick, who does come, granted, from immigrant stock, but doesn't look it particularly, has never experienced racism, so there can't be any. There can't be any. It's a bit like Matt, you know. Matt gets very, very cross about racism, but only the racism that he himself doesn't actually ever come in contact with. Yes, strange that, isn't it? Yes. Still, flags and white people being, the most important thing there is, and these uppity people that have got, feelings. Yes. Wonderfully dismissive. The same sorts of people, of course, who will whilst pretending to be, for example, vaguely having nods towards feminism will also earnestly believe that women basically are asking for it. I know I'm perhaps being a little bit over-egged and overreached there, but it's exactly the same thing. I mean, what have these women got to go on about? I feel fine walking around at night. I'm not worried about being attacked. Well, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a reason why, when a brown person says that they feel something, it's because they feel something. Maybe it is actually real, because these are exactly the same people, of course, who will dismiss other people's feelings completely out of hand. Anyway, one of these classic things that I thought we'd finally moved away from, but it appears not, it's definitely making a comeback, is the inevitable panel discussion. And boys and girls, can you guess who's on the panel? Let's have a look at the panel, shall we?
Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We have got GB News contributor Will Kingston, we've got Tory MP Esther McVeigh and journalist Jonathan Liss. Will, I'll start with you on this. So, no-go zones for NHS staff because there's St George's crosses outside people's homes.
Yeah, it's shocking, isn't it, Patrick? Look, it's a poignant day to speak about this because so many people have died fighting for that flag, and we must not forget them, lest we forget. If some trans ideologue picks up a pride flag and advocates for the chemical castration of children, I don't feel intimidated. I'm A, because I'm a normal human being, but B, because facts don't care about my feelings. In some instances, people use that flag for what I think is a very, very harmful purpose, and some people feel pride in their sexuality. That's fine. In this case, this flag is a flag that should unite the country. Every country has a flag, and just because some people may use it for purposes which other people may think are harmful, bad luck.
So as an Australian, you're not...
Yes, well, there you have it. Yes, all the white people on the panel, they're all agreed it's all a load of old tosh, and there's no such thing. There's no such thing. But you'll notice the sort of emphasis on other things that really people must be upset about. Chemical castration of children. Not that we're using that in an emotive way. And you'll also notice that we have an Antipodean bloke telling us what we should feel. An Antipodean bloke who seems to not actually know what the Second World War was about. Because people weren't fighting for a flag during the Second World War. They were fighting against a racist regime. That was the key one. And you might say, well, they were also fighting for a flag. Nobody realistically fights for a flag. It's a bit silly. It's a bit silly to do. People don't fight for flags. No, sorry, but not. But here we have it, right, okay? Once again, the inevitable group of people that aren't affected by the issue poo-pooing the issue because it's just some stupid uppity people with loads of stupid emotions because of their DNA, isn't it? It would be intriguing to see a panel with such luminaries as, I don't know, let's say Epstein and Trump and Andrew Tate discussing, I don't know, sexual violence against women. You get the idea. Why are we here? Why are we here, 2025, with a bunch of white people telling brown people that their feelings are inadequate and they can just suck it up? After all, facts don't care about your feelings. Well, it would be nice if people actually took that one on board, because it would appear that feelings are always okay when certain communities feel threatened, yeah? Or certainly racism definitely exists if you get to discover, a job you could never apply for as an internship at the BBC is happening, then it's definitely a thing and we can get cross by God about it. Yes. British media to a T. And just on the back of that, if I ever have to hear about people running a business and how sensible they are, I think it would be nice to point out that GB News is still rupturing millions of pounds each year. So what exactly is the business model? And if it is a business model that ruptures money, what exactly is the purpose of the channel? What exactly is Paul Marshall doing with this enormous emphasis on poo-pooing minorities of any description, not the normal ones, you'll understand, like some Aussie bloke that doesn't know about history. Anyway, do have a lovely day if you can do, and remember, be normal and don't have feelings, otherwise we'll get cross. Have a lovely day.